guy just pulled in the parking lot with a boat he wants to sell. So Chum and I are gonna go check it out.
Wow.
Oh, a boat.
So what do you have here?
It's a 1958 Seaflight Glastron.
Damn, they wanted this thing to look like a 57 Chevy, didn't they?
Sure did.
Is it a convertible?
I came down to the pawn shop today to sell my 1958 Glastron Seaflight. I have another project in mind, and it happens to be another big fin boat. I'd like to get $10,500 for that boat because you couldn't find another boat like that.
Do you know any history on it?
This boat was made in 1958 by a fledgling company named Glastron. There's probably only 150 of these boats left.
That's neat. It was 1958, and everyone loved the style of the 57 Chevy, so let's come out with a boat that looks like a 57 Chevy. This Chevy 150, they had one paint scheme they called the Black Widow.
Normally, I don't buy boats. They're money pits. But this thing is cool. It looks just like the 57 Chevy I got for the old man's birthday. It's definitely tempting because it's an iconic look.
In '58, the space race was just starting, and everything had fins. Anything they could make rocket-like was cool at the time.
This thing's supersonic?
No, it's not supersonic. This thing probably did 30.
It's got 80 horses behind it.
Does it work?
Yeah.
All right.
You ever smash this thing out on the lake?
I don't know what you mean by smash.
Drive it like a rocket.
This Glastron boat is awesome, but boats are tough to sell, so it has to be a home run.
I mean, you got all the original chrome and everything seems to be here. Yeah, this was an affordable family boat.
But do you know why?
Because it was a little 17-foot boat.
No, because it was fiberglass. No more wood boats. Wood boats were moving out.
Yeah.
Fiberglass was coming in.
Ooh, school's in session. You just got schooled.
Sorry, dude.
So what do you want to do with it?
I want to sell it.
How much did you want for it?
10.5.
Ooh. This is my problem with it. It's like lipstick on a pig. I mean, we have a terrible paint job, okay? It doesn't have the original motor.
Okay. I realize all the flaws with this boat. But that's not, the point is just the styling, and can you even find one?
The thing is...
Find one.
But it's still all about making money, and there's no money here for me. I mean, I wish I could do something. It's just, I don't even want to make you an offer. There's too much work that's got to be done for me to make anything.
Really? Okay.
All right?
That's fine.
Well, thanks for bringing it in, though, man.
He was basically insulting me with the paint thing, the petty stuff, you know? That's a good-looking boat. This guy doesn't know.
What's going on, son?
I've got a Hudson Bay Gorget made probably around the 1700s.
Hey, Rick,
What's up?
what the hell's a 4J?
Came into the pawn shop today to see if I could sell my Hudson Bay Gorget. Hudson Bay is one of the oldest companies in the world. I want to try to get 100,000 out of it, but I'll have to see what he offers me.
What do you know about this thing?
As far as I know, it was made by Hudson Bay, somewhere probably around 1700s. I don't know a whole lot about it. My dad actually got it. He picked it up at an auction.
Do you know what he paid for it?
Second mortgage on his house.
Okay. These go way back in time. I mean, even the Romans had them. It was to defend against a knife thrust or a sword thrust to your neck. I know the Hudson Bay Company was one of the oldest companies in North America. They were a trade company. You know, they basically traded with Indians.
Hell, Rick, me pioneering this shop, maybe I ought to wear something like that.
I don't think that would fit around your head.
Okay.
All right. It looks like it might have been a trade piece to the Indians. That's Venetian glass.
Yeah.
And the glass beads is completely normal. They had to trade the Indians something for this. They didn't want cash. They didn't want coins.
Yeah.
They wanted stuff.
Yeah.
And how much you want for it?
Probably about 100,000.
You know, I don't see that happening.
Why not?
Because I think it's worth a lot less.
How much less?
Like 99,000 less. I can tell you right now it's not 1700s.
All right.
Okay? Because you see this yellow-gray patina that's on it?
Yeah.
Okay? That tells me right away it's nickel silver.
Okay.
Okay? They're right around 20% zinc, 20% copper, 60% nickel. Zinc wasn't isolated really until the 1800s.
All right, what the are you talking about?
Son, you're way out of line.
Basically, I'm just trying to tell you I'm not bullshitting you. I've seen auctions for these things, and they generally go for right around 1,500 bucks.
All right.
I'd offer you $1,000.
I don't know what you're smoking, man, but that's not gonna work. So I'm gonna take my stuff and leave.
All right, have a nice day.
That guy, I think he just thinks I'm some punk kid and wanted to lowball me. I'm disappointed I couldn't make a deal. I would have liked to have made the money.
Hey, what is this?
They're hunting rifles. They are a 2-shot 45 caliber percussion cap.
These look gnarly.
These are gnarly. These guns are seriously badass. They are absolutely unique. I've never shot these. I'm not strong enough, and trying to hold it up to aim, I think, would be a real man's task.
Where did you get these?
I'm a collector, and I picked these up in a trade from a guy. You can see that the barrels rotate like that. So you can load 2 shots at once, bang, and then rotate it, take your second shot. These were developed in, I'm guessing, 1870-ish.
They would be earlier than that. By 1870, the percussion cap was going the way of the dinosaur. I would assume they'd be like 1850, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Literally, it just took so long to load a gun. And basically around the 1830s on, they made pistols with 4 barrels. The only problem was a lot of times all 4 barrels went off at once. And probably killed the guy you're shooting at, because the gun was 50 feet behind you, you know, just,
Or it was in your jaw.
yeah.
Yeah, one or the other.
Hunting in the early 1800s was tough. If you took a shot and missed, your dinner would be long gone before you reloaded. This rotating barrel was a huge advantage. You had an extra shot really quick. I mean, these look in good shape, but I see problems right away. This stock's been replaced.
Really?
Well, I mean, we got the Tiger Stripe maple right here with a completely different wood on the butt. It basically lights some rope on fire and wrap it around there and make some tiger stripes.
I didn't know that. I always wondered how they got that beautiful wood.
Yeah, okay. There's been some modern work on them because that's a modern screw right there.
One of the things that's interesting on these is this is left-handed.
Oh, okay. That's something you rarely see.
I would think so, and by the inlays here, I'm guessing that this rifle was built by William Hart.
Who's William Hart?
You know, I know that he was a gun maker in the 1800s, but I've not been able to discover too much information on him.
Rotating barrel rifles are pretty rare, and one being left-handed makes it even cooler. But when you don't have all the original parts, it's difficult to put a value on them. What do you want for them?
I'd like to get $2,000 each for them. Just looking at them, you got to admit, they're damn cool.
Do you mind if I call someone in to look at these things? I mean, I just don't know enough about them.
No, that'd be great. I would like to learn more about them myself.
I'm gonna go give them a call.
All right, thank you. I'm hoping that their guy gives me a good valuation on these things. Otherwise, well, I may have to beat on him some.
Oh my goodness gracious, it's you again. The condition of the gun is what I would say is maybe poor plus.
Oh, it is me
Well,
again.
it's a pleasure seeing you.
We have 2 double-barrel rotating cap and balls, and this one's left-handed.
Very interesting. If you look up in the dictionary, like, not balanced, you're gonna find this gun. The small arms race since the very beginning has been about shooting further and faster. Further meaning more accurately, and faster meaning more bullets without having to reload. The gun is heavy, but if you have a well-aimed shot, you'll hit your target.
This one could have been made by a guy named William Hart with the Hart inlays here.
Usually marked on the barrel. Okay, wait. William Hart.
I didn't see that.
He was known to make guns in Fredonia, New York, and he made them circa 1823 to 1831.
Oh, they're that old then.
Actually, in my opinion, these are probably turn of the century,
Okay.
the 20th century. So it's a 19, even 40s or 50s. These are not old guns. Out of kits, they're making them, where you find a lot of old parts, like the lock and the stock, and you make the barrel. The metal's really old. The trigger guard here has a lot of pitting. These were made in the 1830s, 1840s.
So this gun is an assortment of older and newer parts. Cool.
And the barrels, you can look at the rifling, it's just It's more modern.
Well, then this piece that says William Hart on it, would these have been recycled from the 1830s?
Possibly. Some of the parts may be from the 1800s, but unfortunately, these swivel barrel rifles were made from bits and pieces sometime in the 1900s. They weren't made to be collected. These guns were made to be shot. Guns like this have been around since the 1830s, but these are not those guns.
All right, so what are they worth?
Well,
I mean, because we do have 1830s, 1840s parts here.
$750 tops a
Each?
piece. Yeah.
Okay.
1,000 maybe. So
And that would be your crybaby, whiny-assed opinion?
yes, actually it would be. But they're cool, right? Rick, if you buy these, they're fun to shoot. Call me.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
Thanks, sir.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you.
What do you want for them?
Well, how about 2,000 for the pair?
I can't do that.
We can do that.
I'll give you 1,100.
Too low.
I mean, they're really, really cool, and I do think they'll sell, but I mean, they are what they are.
But they do have a coolness to them.
What's your bottom dollar?
1,500.
Go to 14, we'll call it a deal.
Okay, 1,450.
1,400 bucks. Thanks. 1,400.
1,400,
All
thank
right.
you. If I come back, it would be interesting to have the same appraisal guy. Sometimes I'd like to smack him, but that's just me.
I have a contract here signed by Elvis Presley in 1955. And of course, this was back when nobody knew anything about him.
So are you a big fan?
Oh, absolutely. And he was good looking.
Thank you very much.
I'm here at the pawn shop today to try and sell my contract that is signed by Elvis Presley. I could surely use the extra money. I want to sell the contract for $8,000 to $10,000, hopefully.
Where did you get the contract at?
I have a friend. He was in the music industry. He said, I want you to have this. He said, I think it's worth something, but you'll need to get it checked out.
Okay. Elvis, he was the king of rock and roll. Did you ever see him play?
Yes, I did. I saw him in his early years live, and he looked fantastic.
Sounds like you had a crush on him.
Oh, I did. I loved his music. It had a fantastic beat. Everybody loved to dance to it, and he danced wonderfully.
Yeah, Elvis is pretty tame by today's standards, but in 1955, he was risque. He was on several television shows where they would not film him below the waist. It was too much for the American public to see gyrating hips.
My father did not like those gyrations.
Elvis didn't invent rock and roll, but there's no question he invented rock stardom. I think the Justin Biebers of the world owe him some serious props.
Okay, we have a contract for Elvis Presley to play at the City Auditorium, Beaumont, Texas, June 20th and 21st, 1955. And it's signed by Elvis Presley.
How old was he then?
He was 20.
Just a youngster.
He was getting $225 a night. That was a lot of money in 1955. In 1955, that was probably like $2,000 today. So he was making that per night, and that was before he was famous. Imagine how much he made after he became this worldwide megastar.
Right.
The contract is really neat. It's something you don't see. There were very few of these out. And it is a cool part of history.
This is exactly what an Elvis collector would want. It's on a single page so you can easily frame it. It's got Elvis's signature, and it's before he was famous. My guess, it's incredibly rare and valuable.
So what do you want to do with it?
I'd like to sell it.
And how much were you looking to get out of it?
Well, I'd like to get $8,000 to $10,000 for it.
That might be a reasonable figure, but we don't know the origins of it. Anything signed by someone really famous, I have to get checked out. So let me get someone in here to check this signature out. If it's legit, we'll talk about a price.
Okay?
Let me go give him a call.
Thank you.
If this contract's legit, it's a gold mine. I would have Elvis collectors lining up out the door for this thing.
Gentlemen,
Drew, how's it
how you
going?
doing? Good to see you.
How you doing, Drew?
Chum? Elvis contract. Is this it?
Yep.
Looking forward to it all day. The guys gave me a phone call. They said they had an Elvis Presley contract. And obviously something like that, you really need to look at the details and see if it's authentic or not. 1955. This is the year before he really got famous. His first hit came out the next year. So this thing is pretty early in the day, that's for sure. Elvis Presley's most desirable signatures there are, pretty much. Something on a contract before he's really famous, that can be worth a lot of money if it's real.
How much do you think it's worth if it's real?
Wow, an early vintage contract like this, even in this economy, we're looking at $15,000.
All right, do your magic.
All right, let's take a closer look. One of the things that stands out that makes it look like it may be authentic is it's typed right in the middle of the line. Usually when a forger does something, they want to do it perfect. So that's one of the things that kind of makes it look authentic, you know?
Okay.
So let's look at more evidence down here. I mean, it's got the epsilon E. The shape of the capital P is correct. I mean, he signed it pretty simplistic when he was only 20 years old. This is right for the time period. All the details seem to be correct. One thing we have to do for sure, though, is to see if it's an original. Because if it's not an original, it's not going to have any value. So let's take a closer look here. Pull out a little bit more power. See what we have. It's a copy. Machine copy, Xerox machine. It's not original ink.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Oh, my God. Disappointing. Very disappointing. Really.
Sorry to give you the bad news, but you can tell because the ink for the signature is the same ink. There's the typewriter ink and the print ink. If this was an original, you could clearly see, you know, the track of writing ink, okay? It would be different with the typewriter because that's a different type of ink, and again, would be different with the type that is on the contract itself. It's a carbon copy, and unfortunately, not being original, it has no real value.
I see. I'm heartbroken, completely.
This makes me feel terrible when this happens, someone especially as sweet as you. Thanks for coming in, hon.
Oh,
Sorry I
you
couldn't
bet.
do another one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I feel very, very sad that it's not worth anything. I'm very emotionally upset about it. I need the money, and I was hoping this was our way out. And so I'm just really devastated right now.
What are those?
Pole axes. It's okay to put these down? Yeah, go ahead and set them over here.
Where'd you get these? The Renaissance Fair?
No, I got them in southern Germany. A town called Dinkelsbühl. It's a walled fortress city.
From Dingleberry, Germany?
Dinkelsbühl.
Dinkelsbühl, okay.
I've collected medieval weapons for about 20 years. I usually hang them up on the wall in my living room or in my collection room. It's like some people like Monet, some people like Picasso. I like medieval weapons.
Halberds, huh? How old are these?
They're about 500 years old.
500 years old. What makes you think they're that old?
The way they're made, these are hand forged on an anvil, so they're really light, but they're really strong. My research, this one right here is Austrian, and this one's actually Italian.
It was a pretty kind of high-tech weapon when it came out. I mean, pretty much what you would do is the guy would go rolling by on the horse and you stick that into him and yank him off of it. I mean, it was, and then once he was on the ground, you had all this leverage to swing over your head and, you know, get right through his armor. And you had this nice little pointy part to get in between things and poke him. And it was a pretty versatile weapon.
These axes are in amazing shape. If we can prove these are real, I know I can easily sell them to a military collector.
So how much are you looking to get for these halberds?
I need 7,500 each.
7,500 each, all right. Have you ever had them looked at or appraised by anybody, or?
I've collected medieval weapons for quite some time. I've done my research, so I'm very confident in what they are.
You know, there's people who have their whole houses decorated in this style of stuff. I'm sure I could sell it to somebody, but I couldn't tell you if they're real or fake. I couldn't tell you if they're 500 years old or if they're 300 years old. I really just don't know. For that kind of money, mind if I have a buddy of mine come down and take a look at them?
No, absolutely not. I welcome it.
All right, I'll give him a call.
Thank you. If he's bringing in somebody that really understands medieval weapons and blacksmithing, then we're probably about to make a deal.
So we got some halberds here. What do you think?
Yeah, very nice halberd. Very nice.
Thank you.
How old do you think that is?
Well, about 500 years. I'm gonna put it back down again.
That would make me more
Let
comfortable.
me put the halberd down. Yeah, this is a very nice piece. What do you know about it?
I believe this one's Austrian because of the pattern and also this particular outline.
And you also have these dots here. Typically, the halberds that were made in Austria will have these little vent holes in them. And you'll also see these little side hooks as well on the Austrian designs. This is definitely Austrian. Tell me what you know about the other one.
I believe the other one's Italian.
Okay, you would be right. This is more ornate, a little more gaudy, if you will.
All right, so you're fairly sure they're from the 1500s?
Actually, I'm not. These are halberds, and halberds were used during the 1500s. The wood on these break and are repaired and replaced. This is not original wood. So it's made in the style, but that's not a big deal. The real question is, are the heads real? The Victorians were famous for building classic production of older weapons.
Okay.
The thing that really concerns me about this piece is that the steel is really flimsy. I wouldn't want to be hit by this, but you know, you whack somebody wearing armor with this thing, it's liable to bend or break. I'll conclude that this is probably from the Victorian period and is what I call the decorator piece.
I disagree. You think it's not original because it's flimsy, but that thing is hand forged, and I believe it's original based on what I've studied.
They were hand forging things in the Victorian period too.
So what about this one?
Okay, this one, taking a close look, it does have a foundry marking on it. The Victorians really didn't worry about foundry markings because that's not the point, okay? They were building something for you to hang up on your wall. The steel is very strong. I mean, that's very strong steel. It's not bendy at all. This is a weapon. This is not something you'd hang on the wall just to look cool. I can tell you this is real.
So give me an idea. What do you think they're worth?
This one is, again, not for you. If you wanted to buy this, I'd pay no more than $600 or $700. This one, if you want one of these, I can get you one for $1,500.
No, they're worth a lot more than that. If you think you can find these on the internet for $1,500, knock yourself out, because it's not going to happen.
If you're not exposed to the market and don't know where to find a piece like this, you know, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, not out of the question. But the value, about $1,500.
Well, I disagree with you. Good luck finding something of that quality.
Okay. Hey, Corey.
Appreciate it, man.
Pleasure. Chumley, take care. Sir, have a good day.
Disagree, but good to see you.
Hey, good to see you too.
Craig's not afraid to mix it up a little bit. Sometimes he pisses people off, but he never steers me wrong. And even though they're not as valuable as we originally thought, I'm still interested.
His pricing is not correct at all. They're worth a lot more money than that. If they were everywhere, you'd have seen them before. They're not.
I mean, if I were to make you an offer, I'd make you an offer of around $1,500.
Are you talking a piece?
No, I'm talking total.
No, I'm not interested at all.
Well, if I were you, next time I'd buy one, I'd call Craig too. All right, appreciate it, man.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
You couldn't buy that for $1,500 if you just found it in the ground rusted. I'm absolutely fine keeping them, or I can trade them with other people that actually know what they're talking about.
I came in today to show you my Charles A. Lindbergh personal briefcase.
This is Charles Lindbergh's briefcase. And how do you know that?
Because I'm a Lindy baby. Lucky Lindy.
Really?
Well, no, I'm not an heir. No, I'm not. Considering Charles Lindbergh was one of the greatest aviators of all time, I believe I have one of the greatest finds in American history.
You know, he was the first guy to fly across the Atlantic.
Absolutely.
Which to most people was a pretty insane idea. And lo and behold, you got a company in San Diego to build the plane. This was a 24-year-old kid that convinced him to do this.
Correct.
And he ended up doing it. Once he landed in Paris, people started ripping apart the plane for souvenirs. Charles Lindbergh was the ultimate underdog. Tons of people were trying to make that solo flight across the Atlantic. And out of nowhere comes this young airmail pilot who beat everybody to it. Okay, how did you get the briefcase?
A couple had bought a home, and this was one of the items that they had found. When they opened it up, they seen where it had embossed the name Charles A. Lindbergh.
Okay.
Right here.
C.A. Lindbergh, Little Falls, Minnesota.
And the person who sold him the house, she wrote about the briefcase. It says, this briefcase used to belong to Charles Lindbergh. Dad bought it for me at a pawn shop in Minneapolis. This was before Lindbergh became famous. His name is stamped on the inside cover of the case. Sign, Helen.
So this briefcase was sold to the pawn shop a few years before his flight?
Absolutely.
That makes perfect sense. In the 1920s, pawn shops were the #1 form of consumer credit. If you needed some cash, that's generally where you went. I'll tell you what, you have an intriguing story here. It's disappointing that Lindbergh did not take this on his transatlantic flight. But if he did take it on some of his earlier flights, we're looking at a significant piece of history that just walked into my pawn shop. How much were you looking to get out of it?
Well, I'm actually looking to get $85,000 for it.
Here's my big problem. You've got like 6 degrees of separation here.
Right.
You have this card here and a briefcase that's just embossed C.A. Lindbergh. Let me have someone look at this. I'm gonna have to give him all the info you gave me. If he can tell me he's confident that this was Charles A. Lindbergh's briefcase, then we'll start talking.
I want you to be confident.
All right.
That sounds great.
Okay, just hang out.
All right, thank you.
There it is. I mean, for all I know, her dad just went and embossed the damn thing and says, I got this at a pawn shop. This was Lindbergh's.
Well, had that have been the case, I would have never bought it.
Charles Lindbergh, when he flew across the Atlantic, he moved himself into a level of fame that never went away. We have to work through what information you have and what I've been able to put together on this. The initial one is that it came from Helen Renstrom.
Renstrom and Ross,
Yes.
correct?
And she's real. I was able to find her.
Yeah.
She was a nurse in the school district in Sacramento for 30 years.
Yeah.
So that part of the story holds together. Now, Little Falls, Minnesota is the correct location.
Correct.
And that's where C.A. Lindbergh was living. Of course, we have 2 different people with those initials. It's not Lindbergh Sr. and Jr., but Charles August Lindbergh and Charles Augustus Lindbergh. And Augustus is the one who flew over the ocean.
Correct.
His father, however, Charles August, was elected to Congress, served 10 years, and one thing that I found as I was doing research on this was a letter that Charles August sent to his son, where he talks about the fact that he is out of money and he has been selling his goods. This would have been the right time period for this to have been sold to a pawn shop. And so you go back and you start checking all the other pieces of it. And in this case, Charles Lindbergh, the pilot, always went with Charles A. Lindbergh. His father, however, always went with C.A. So as I look at the evidence and the research that I did, it's my opinion that this was Charles August Lindbergh, the father, the congressman, not Charles Augustus.
I'm not taking away from your expertise. I still believe it belongs to Charles Augustus Lindbergh, the pilot.
And you have the right to your belief,
Right.
but what I've found on it, it was Charles August.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
Not a problem.
I 100% disagree with him. When it comes down to business, I believe in seeing it through.
Well, I mean, Mark's my guy. I just have to believe whatever he tells me. So obviously we're not going to make a deal. I mean, try and do some more research, try to get some more documentation. That's all I can tell you.
All right, will that change your mind?
Depends on what you get, okay?
All right, thank you very much.
Have a nice day, man.
All right, thank you. This did not belong to his father, and I will prove that when I come back. It's going to cost a whole lot more.
What do we got here?
I have an amazingly rare gun.
Amazingly rare.
Yes. The Smith & Wesson 320 revolving rifle. They only made 977 of them.
People who collect Smith & Wessons, this is the crown jewel right here. It's really rare.
I came to the pawn shop today to sell my Smith & Wesson 320. I'd like to sell my gun today because I have my very first granddaughter, so I'd like to use the money for her. I'm looking to get $5,000, and the least amount I'm willing to take is $1,000.
Where did you get this thing?
I actually bought it at a yard sale.
Okay.
It's not a rifle, it's a pistol.
Well, it used to be a rifle.
How was this ever a rifle?
There was a rifle stock on the back that mounted on the back of this right here. There was also a stock right here for underneath the barrel. That's what this whole setup is for. And this thing had a much longer barrel on it.
Okay.
If you collect Smith & Wesson revolvers from the late 1800s, generally collectors want to get every one of them and they complete their collection. So there's only a few who can ever have this gun.
So why is it so rare?
Smith & Wesson didn't play with the prototype a lot, and it was a bad design. So no one bought them, and that's why it's the most collectible Smith & Wesson ever made.
Yeah, I found out they would shoot it as a rifle. The shrapnel would rip up their arm.
It's not shrapnel, it was powder burns.
Okay.
I mean, with the first prototype, they should have realized it would have done that to somebody. Smith & Wesson has been making guns since the 1850s. Some of their guns were so popular, they became iconic weapons. But this thing's different. It's one of their rare flops that didn't sell well. Since no one bought them, they're very rare, and that makes them very collectible. Those few people who did buy them, word got out how terrible they were. So basically, you were stuck. You could turn it into a pistol, or you could use it as a hammer. Do you have the shoulder stock or any of the other parts for it?
Unfortunately, I threw it away.
You threw away the stock.
Unfortunately, I did not know it went with that gun.
You know the stock alone probably worth over $1,000?
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah. So you want to pawn or to sell it?
Sell it.
Okay. And how much did you want for it?
I was hoping to get $5,000 for it.
This is one of those things, you know, you got a really rare gun here, but as far as condition goes, it couldn't get much worse. Let me have my buddy come in and take a look at it. Let's get his opinion on it, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
All right.
As a collector myself, I know that I'll pay good money for something that I don't have in my collection, even if the condition isn't great. But I'm kicking myself in my ass right now for throwing away that stock.
Hey, Craig, how you doing, buddy?
Corey, what's new?
What's up,
How's it going, man?
Okay, thanks for calling.
Well, this is it.
Wow. And I haven't had one of these in my hands in a long time. This is a
Yes.
very, very rare gun. I own Craig Gottlieb Military Antiques, and I specialize in military collectibles and antique firearms. The guys call me down to the shop when they get a rare military antique or firearm, and I answer any questions they have. Where'd you get it?
I actually bought it at a yard sale.
I do this for a living, and I never find things like this at a yard sale. That's amazing. This gun was made between 1880 and 1890. They were trying to make a revolving rifle. A lot of different companies were trying to do that. Colt did it, Winchester did it.
Okay.
But they made less than 1,000. It was a very bad design because when you shoot a normal revolver, you fire the weapon and most of the powder and residue goes downrange. But when you're shooting a revolving rifle, your hand is forward of the cylinder. So what usually ended up happening was powder went into your hand. You look at a rifle like this today and you go, this is crazy. Who would think of doing this? But after the Civil War, gun manufacturers were trying to innovate. They were trying to come up with new things. It turned out not to be a very good design, but because they didn't make very many, it's very rare today. The greatest thing this has going for it is that it's rare. I mean, the condition's terrible. Do you have the stock?
I didn't know it went with the gun, and I threw it away.
Oh. You know, frankly, if you had the stock would probably be worth just by itself as an old piece of wood $5,000 or $6,000.
Wow. Wow.
If this was in mint condition, had the stock, full barrel, you could get north of $15,000. With this, it's in relic condition, but it does have the original grips. These are vulcanized rubber grips, and those are quite hard to find.
Okay.
So what's it worth? Between $800 and $1,000.
Are you serious? Is that it?
I think as a dealer, you buy it and you hope you find the guy that needs the grips. In fact, you know, if you had a mint condition gun like this and you needed grips, this would be a perfect gun.
Thanks, man.
Vic,
Appreciate it. So, are you still interested in selling it?
I don't know that I would want to sell it for less than 1,000.
I'll give you $800 for it. Condition is everything with old guns, okay?
And I realize that.
I know.
If you would do $1,000, I would sell it right now.
I'll give you $800. I think that's more than fair, and I'm only going the $800 because it'll probably be the only one I'll ever have in my store.
Then how about we meet in the middle? We'll do 900.
All right, $850.
If you do 875, you got a deal. You're gonna make money on it. I really believe you're gonna make money on it.
All right, $875.
All right, thank you so much.
Go write it up, son.
Come with me.
It's not the $5,000 I had hoped for. I'm walking out with $875, and I'm gonna take it home, and it is going to go to my granddaughter.
How you doing?
Hi. Hey, can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to sell a picture of Mary and Abraham Lincoln from, I believe, 1863.
I thought Abe only took photos by himself.
What are you talking about?
Oh, he's right about that.
Are you jealous?
Okay. All right, we're running a business here.
I'm here to sell my 1863 photo of Mary and Abraham Lincoln. I'm a collector of 19th century photos, and this was part of a collection of 11 photographs that were unidentified. And it substantiated the importance of the collection because it had Mary and Abraham Lincoln together.
This is really intriguing. It's an ambrotype. You know what that means?
I just know that in ambrotypes, it took like 30 minutes to develop, and they had to like be fixed straight with like some...
No, it was the way photographs were done. The film wasn't as good as it is today, obviously, like that. So it took a long time to expose it. And so they would have hooks on the wall that would go around like that, and you had to push your head into them for at least 5 seconds. It took forever to take a photograph back then. It was really, really expensive.
Yeah, Mary was quite the shopper. I could relate to her. You know, her and Abe almost didn't even get married because she shopped too much.
No. They were gonna get married in 1840 when he was in the state legislature in Illinois.
But Abe was like, no, you be spending too much, girl.
I don't know where you get your history from. Abe did not have a lot of money, was just starting his legal career, so they postponed the marriage until his law firm took off, which it did, so they were able to get married. All right, so where'd you get this?
I bought it from a collector who sold me a collection of 11 photographs that were unidentified, and I painstakingly was able to identify every single one of them and did recognize it to be Abraham and Mary together.
And no documentation, anything like that?
Nothing at all.
Okay, so how much do you want for this?
I feel it's 1 in a million, so I'm asking $1 million.
Whoa, $1 million?
$1 million.
Okay, so I can call someone and take a look at it. I have kind of a renowned expert on photo identification. So give me a few minutes, I'll go give her a call, okay?
Okay.
I don't know of another photo of Abraham and Mary Todd Lincoln together. So if it is real, it's probably the only one in existence. So it's something that I just have to look into. Maureen, how's it going?
Good.
So here we go.
Gorgeous. Supposed to be Abraham Lincoln and Mary Todd Lincoln.
Yeah. I have my doubts.
Okay. Do you mind if I take a look at it?
Absolutely.
This is a really beautiful photograph. It's an ambrotype, as you know. And ambrotype, they enhanced the cheeks and the lips to make them look more lifelike. So Abraham Lincoln was a very distinctive-looking individual and had a particular style of beard. You have to look at everything in the photograph, from what they're wearing to what type of picture it is, to then what's happening with the face. The issue with this guy being Abraham Lincoln, you can see that his nose is a little bit different, his eyes are a little bit different. And Mary Todd's face is a little wider.
But there are some things about Abraham's face. He had a nose that was crooked, and he definitely has one in this photo as well.
I have to admit, I know why you think this is Abraham Lincoln, because he has that sort of gaunt shape to his head. But there's another thing we can look at, and that is facial comparison software.
Okay.
So it actually lays one face on top of the other.
They have to be the same size.
It resizes them.
What's that?
It resizes the heads so
Because
that
I use a caliper, and I check the eyes, and they're a match.
Okay. But you can see that this woman has sort of a different eyebrows.
I don't want to be difficult here, but I feel I'm an expert. I look for other things besides just face. I look at the clothes, I look at the background, I check.
Yes, so do I. I look at everything.
Okay. It's not a problem. It's your career. You have a right to discredit yourself. But you know what?
But I've been doing this for a really long time.
Okay.
And a lot of people come to me saying that they have...
They'll be coming to me in 10 years. I'm honest to God.
I know, you think this is worth $1 million, and
No,
you would like it to be worth $1 million. And all I'm saying is, it's my opinion that it's not Abraham Lincoln.
Someone's making a mistake.
So your opinion is it's not real?
It's not.
Thanks for coming in. You're the best.
Thank you.
Okay, so you heard Maureen.
Okay, so, all right, I appreciate it.
Like I said, we can agree to disagree.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Take care. Yeah, no, it didn't sell today. That's not a big deal. It will stay in the collection. In this case, I never got past first base, and it's just the way that it happened.
How can I help you?
Well, I have a coin here. It's a portrait coin of Julius Caesar from the month before he got assassinated.
Okay.
This coin is really interesting.
Yeah, this is cool. Yes, I think I was actually Caesar in a different lifetime.
I'm coming into the shop today because I have a portrait Julius Caesar coin that I want to sell. I believe it's a key piece to any historical coin collection. I'm hoping to sell it for $4,400, but I absolutely love it, so I'm not going to take any lowball offer for it.
Yeah, this is cool. I mean, you have Caesar Dictator. One of the neat things is where it says dictator on the front of it. That's a negative term nowadays, but back then it wasn't. During times of war, they would assign a person the title dictator, and a dictator would do what was necessary to preserve the republic. Okay, and no matter what he did in office, he could not be prosecuted for that when he left office.
Cool.
When he was assassinated, everyone said he was a tyrant, which was different.
Yeah.
It was legal to assassinate a tyrant. That was tyrannicide. But once Brutus and all of his buddies killed him on the Senate floor, they seemed to realize if we say it's tyrannicide where we killed a tyrant, we're screwed because everything he did when he was in office is now null and void. But if he wasn't a tyrant, then it was murder. So they basically came along and says, he wasn't a tyrant and we didn't murder him. After Julius Caesar was assassinated, there was a real power vacuum in Rome. And it wasn't until Octavius that basically straightened everything out. The great thing about this is it's a 2,000-year-old coin with Caesar's face on it. And I want it. So, are you looking to sell it?
Yeah.
Okay. How much were you looking to get out of it?
I want $4,400, please.
Okay. There's a million variables, especially with ancient coins, and quite frankly, I don't know enough. I don't know if that's a good price or not. Do you mind if I have someone look at it?
Sure, please.
All right, I'll be right back.
Thank you. I'm really excited that an expert is coming in to attest to its authenticity. This is one of these historical personalities that made Western civilization the way it is today.
This is the coin.
Okay. Julius Caesar. Few names in history ring with the familiarity of Julius Caesar. You know, there's Napoleon, you know, a few other people you can throw in. His murder inspired Shakespeare.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a serious bit of history. This particular coin was struck within 30 days prior to Julius Caesar's murder. Many historians believe that the fact that his portrait appeared on a coin was one of the things that led to his murder.
So is it real?
Do you mind if I take it out and look at it?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, examine.
Okay. The strike is perfect. The style is correct. Everything is right.
Okay.
It's perfectly genuine.
All right.
So what do you think it's worth?
When you get a coin like this, there's no shortage of buyers. When they are in fantastic condition, the very best of these have brought in the neighborhood of $200,000 each.
Okay.
But there's a good amount of wear. It's circulated, and I think this is worth in the neighborhood of $1,500.
Retail?
Retail.
Okay.
To me, it seems almost ridiculous that somebody would sell it that low, especially when they knew its history.
Well, I'm basing it on what I've seen them sell for in auctions in Europe and the United States. But the decision is yours.
Thanks for coming in, man.
All righty, man. Thanks.
One last question. Where can I get these for such low prices?
I understand why the seller is not happy with that. You know, the fact is these things are undervalued, and it's probably best that he holds on to it because the bottom line is it's difficult to replace for less than its current market value.
Dave, he's been in the coin business his entire life, and I'm gonna take his opinion. You know, I'd give you $1,000 for the coin.
Is this a real offer, or?
That's a legitimate offer, yeah.
That's not a legitimate offer. You're just using your position here, trying to buy something for below its market value.
The way market value is determined is if two people agree on a price. If you don't like my price, you don't have to take it.
How about
but-
4,000?
No, there's no money to be made.
I have a final offer for you, 3,500, and I'll take cash, $100 bills.
I guess we're not gonna make a deal, man.
You're lost, my friend.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Have a nice one. The offer of $1,000 is absolutely ridiculous. I'm gonna hold on to the coin and I'm gonna try to sell it to someone else that could actually appreciate its true historical value.
What do we got here?
I have a Atlanta Braves 1995 World Series ring.
Oh, that's a pretty cool year, man.
Team of the 90s. Got there 7 times and then finally won World Series in 95.
They're like the Buffalo Bills of the 90s, man. They just couldn't pull it off.
I came to the pawn shop today to try to sell my 1995 Atlanta Braves World Series ring. I'd like to sell it because my wife and I were moving to Vietnam, hoping to get $13,000 inside.
So where'd you get it?
Yeah, I got it from a buddy of mine who needed the money, and I thought it'd be a good investment.
Atlanta Braves, 1995 World Champions. Was Turner the staff member?
He was the owner.
Yeah, Ted Turner.
This belonged to Ted, and he issued it or gave it away? Could make it worth more. They had some pretty good people on the team back then, didn't they?
Dave Justice, Greg Maddux,
Chipper Jones.
Greg Maddux won the Cy Young. It's a really good franchise. They just couldn't get it done all them other years.
You think they were the team of the 90s?
Sure, they were good, but no one really liked them.
The first championship rings were given to the Giants in 1922 when they beat the Yankees. The design was pretty basic and only featured 1 diamond. But by the 1970s, championship rings got flashier with lots and lots of diamonds. So it's no big surprise that these things can go for a lot of money.
You know, there's a pretty big difference when it comes from staff to player rings. I mean, everybody wants a player's ring because it was by a guy who actually won the World Series. So what do you want to do with it, my man?
Yeah, I want to sell it. Yeah, I'd like to get $13,000 for it.
$13,000, huh?
Championship rings are one of my dad's favorite things to buy. We make really good money when we sell them to sports collectors, but every ring is different, so getting the price right can be tricky.
You mind if I have a buddy come down and take a look at it?
How come? I'd like to get the money and get out of here.
You know, right now, if you have to hold me to an offer, I'm gonna offer you $4 grand because it's a staff ring. My guy might come in and tell you it's worth a little bit more.
All right, that's fair. Okay.
All right, let me give him a call and I'll be right back.
All right. I don't really know that much about the ring. They're gonna bring in an expert, so hopefully he'll verify that it's worth the $13,000 I'm asking for.
What's going on, guys? The guys call me down to the shop whenever they have some sports memorabilia that they need some more information about.
1995 Braves championship ring.
The Braves are actually the oldest continuously playing team in American professional sports.
Oh, wow.
Over the years, though, they had a lot of ups and downs. Finally, in the early 90s, they found new life with a great lineup that propelled them into the 95 World Series. It was a great contest. One hand, you got the Indians. In the National League, you had the Braves, who by far had the best record.
Wasn't it like by 21 games or something?
Yeah, the Braves had about a 20-game lead in the National League. The Indians had maybe like 30-game lead in the American League. Braves finally won in Game 6, brought home their 3rd title, and actually gave the city of Atlanta their first major sports championship, too. I've seen World Series rings sell for tens of thousands of dollars, so I'm really excited to see what this ring might bring. What concerns did you have with the ring?
It's a staff ring.
Okay.
I know there's a huge difference in price between a staff ring and a player's ring.
Right.
I think it might be Ted Turner's ring, which is kind of crazy. I mean, what do you think it might be worth?
Let's take a look at the ring here. We have a large diamond set on top of a blue stone, and we're gonna have 18 smaller diamonds surrounding it. The company Jostens, they made the rings for the 95 championship Braves. So on the inside, we should see the Jostens logo.
What do you see?
Unfortunately, this isn't even a staff ring. This is what they call a salesman sample. They're provided to the team beforehand so they can get a look at the ring, see if they like it, approve it, and they make them from there. We know this based on 2 main reasons. Number 1, the inside of the band, it does not have the Jostens logo. And also, it's issued to Turner, which is Ted Turner, the owner of the team. Ted Turner's not a guy that needs to hawk his ring or sell it to come up with a few quick bucks. So there's no doubt that this is what we would call a salesman sample.
Okay.
They still do have value. People just want to own a piece of the 95 Braves. With the original box and everything, you're looking at around $2 grand.
All right.
I was really disappointed. They bring some bozo off the street. I don't know where he came from. All of a sudden, he comes through the door and he's Mr. Expert on baseball. So I don't know. I was really disappointed.
Well, have you heard what my guy has to say? Thinks it's a salesman sample. I would offer you around $800 for it.
Oh, that's okay. And I'll just take it home.
All right, my man, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. I've learned my lesson. I'm not bringing any more rings into this shop.
Hey, how can I help you?
Hi, I've got something that's gonna blow your mind. It's an Austrian miniature pinfire pistol.
That's cool. Bam!
I came to the pawn shop today to try to sell my pinfire pistol. I'd like to get $100 for it. The least amount of money I'd take is probably $50.
So where did you get this?
I found it in a trinket box that my mom left me.
So what is it, a gun?
It is. It's a little miniature pistol, 2mm, the world's smallest pistol.
2mm? Probably do some damage to a stuffed animal.
The neat thing is you can still buy the ammo for it. It's little caps. You would not believe how loud these things are. It really sounds like a gun when they go off. Miniature guns like this were first made by watchmakers. They're meant more for a novelty than an actual gun. If you shot someone with this little gun, it wouldn't do any good because they just shoot caps. Do you know how old it is?
It was made like from 1900 to 1930. It has made in Austria written on the barrel there. And I understand that that was after 1900. They had to start putting made in.
Yeah, I mean, normally I can't buy a gun made after 1898. But these right here, basically the government doesn't consider these guns. They consider them like toys,
Right.
okay? Now, I hate to break the news to you, but they still make these. Brand new in Austria.
Right, but that's an antique one.
And why is it an antique one?
Well, doesn't it it looks old to me.
It's one of the smallest guns you can buy, as far as I know, that actually fires a cap. And as cool as it is, they're not worth that much money because they've been making them for right around 100 years and they still make them to this day. How much did you want for it?
I was thinking around $100.
You can buy them brand new with like some ammo and some flares and attachments and a cleaning kit for like 80 bucks.
Really?
Now I've given you all the info. How much did you want for it?
How about 50?
How about 20 bucks?
How about 30? I really think it's an antique and
Okay.
really special.
How about 15?
I would take the 20 and run.
Okay, I'll take 20.
Okay. Here, write her up, chum. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
I'll meet you right over there.
All righty. I'm a little disappointed that I settled for 20, but he had a good argument.
Hey, how can I help you?
I've got a Lamborghini dash clock.
Would have been a lot cooler if you brought in the car.
To me, that's a little bit cooler than the car itself.
You really are a nerd.
I came down to the pawn shop today to sell my Lamborghini Diablo dash clock. I'd like to get around $3,000 for it. I'd like to sell it today because it doesn't fit my Ferrari.
So what can you tell me about it?
Well, these were made by Briquet for Lamborghini in the introduction of the Diablo in 1990 through 1993.
It was a big deal when it came out. It was the first Lamborghini to go over 200 miles an hour.
Right.
The first Lamborghini cars hit the market in the mid-'60s. And since then, they've been making some of the coolest and most expensive sports cars in the world. For the guy who's got everything, it's the ultimate status symbol. So you know anything about it?
There were only probably 200 to 300 of those made.
So that's an option for the car? How expensive is it?
$10,500.
Hey, girl, my clock costs $10,000 in my Lambo.
It's the oldest watch company in existence.
Right.
It was the most accurate watch you could get back in the 1700s. Breguet watches are extremely collectible, so I gotta believe I can sell this clock. But it might take a while. The Diablo insignia might not appeal to a lot of buyers. How much did you want for it?
Wholesale was around $6,000, so I was thinking around $3,000.
Okay, I've had clocks like this before. They don't sell like the watches do.
They depreciate just like the Lamborghini.
I don't think he's funny.
Okay. I'll tell you what, I'll give you $2,000. I gotta find a Lamborghini fan and I gotta find a really expensive clock collector. So it's gonna sit for a long time.
How about 25?
How about 22?
24.
I'll go $2,300. Okay. All right. Deal. Write them up, Jim.
I like the digital one better. How much was that option?
We settled on $2,300. This may sound crazy for a clock, but if you can afford the car, then you can afford the clock.
What do we got here?
An ivory tusk.
Okay.
I'm here today at the pawn shop with my ivory tusk that is beautifully hand carved. I would hope that I could get somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500 for it.
And what do you want to do with it?
I want to pawn it for 7 to 10 days.
Okay.
I need some money between now and 4 o'clock.
So how'd you get this thing?
I bought it in Taipei.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid a lot.
Okay. Unfortunately, it's not ivory.
What do you mean it's not ivory?
This is bone. It's pieced together bone, and it's made for the tourist trade. It only took like 2 seconds to tell this wasn't ivory. I've seen this hundreds of times before. They were in Asia. They went to a market. They were told they were ivory. They spent a lot of money on them.
I was told it was ivory.
Ivory would be a lot heavier than this.
Who says?
Says me. Bone is porous. Ivory is not. Ivory is completely solid. If you look close, see the panels, the way they come together like that? Well, if it was real ivory, it would just be one solid piece. And what they do is they cut up pieces of bone and they shape it around a piece of wood, and this is what you get.
Oh my goodness.
As a matter of fact, through the split right here, you can see the wood that's underneath it. When you go overseas, there's a lot of unscrupulous dealers who will tell you it's ivory when it's not. I'm not really interested in buying ivory anymore. I mean, ivory used to be needed for billiard balls, concert pianos, and a few other things. Nowadays, you have synthetics. I don't like the process of getting ivory. I don't like the politics of it. I don't like anything about it. How much were you looking to get out of it?
1,000 to 15.
There's no way. I would loan you like $100 on this.
No.
Okay, that's what I could do.
Do a little bit better.
There's no way I could do better. It's not real. It's bone, okay?
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, but I don't loan on pretty. I loan on what I can sell it for. Okay, I mean, that's basically what you got. All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you. I'm very upset. I was told it was ivory, and years later, now I'm finding out that it's not.